Hello guys, you're welcome to another section of Learning with Prepclass. I am Tutor Chima and I'll be your chemistry tutor for today. Today we are going to be looking at Waec past questions 2019 on chemistry, and we are going to be looking at questions number 21 to 25 because in our previous videos we've done solved questions 1 to 20. So because of that, today we'll be looking at questions number 21 to 25. Now students, before we proceed, I want you all to try as much as possible to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our videos. When you look below there, you are going to see a notification bell and a comment section box. I want you to click on the notification bell and switch it on, because when you do that, you'll be the first to be notified whenever we have an educational content like this on our channel. Now, if there are areas as you go on with the lecture that you do not completely comprehend or that you are not clear with, I want you to try as much as possible to drop a question on our comment section box. When you drop a question, I'll be always available to attend to your question. So subscribe, switch on the notification bell, drop a question or a comment on our comment section box, and like our videos. So having said that, we are going to be going straight to the business of today. Question number 21. The most suitable indicator for the reaction between NaOH and HCOOH is NaOH is sodium hydroxide, HCOOH is methanoic acid. So which of these indicators they listed here will be the most suitable to perform the titration between these two? Bromocresol, I don't think this is an indicator. I've never heard of such as an indicator. We are very familiar with methyl orange, methyl red, and phenolphthalein. So our answer should be between these three. Now, sodium hydroxide is a strong base, while HCOOH, which is methanoic acid, HCOOH is a methanoic acid, which is a weak acid. So the reaction now is between sodium hydroxide, a strong base, and methanoic acid, which is a weak acid. And the most suitable indicator to use there is phenolphthalein. Phenolphthalein is the most suitable indicator used for the reaction. Why? Because phenolphthalein is usually used with a strong base and a weak acid. When you have a strong acid and a strong base, strong acid and a strong base, you can use litmus or methyl red. But litmus is not too common. So if we are looking at this now, we can say methyl orange is used for a strong acid and a weak base. Take note of that. Methyl red, strong acid and a strong base. Phenolphthalein, weak acid and a strong base. So the most suitable indicator here is phenolphthalein, which is for a weak acid and a strong base. So phenolphthalein is the correct answer. Question number 22. Consider the following reaction or the following equation. This is aluminum hydroxide reacting with sulfuric acid, tetrahydrosulfuric acid, to give you aluminum sulfate and water. Now, how many moles of tetrahydrosulfuric acid, which is H2SO4, is needed to produce 0.5 mole of aluminum tetrahydrosulfate 6? How many mole of this is needed to produce 0.5 mole of aluminum tetrahydrosulfate 6? How many mole of this is required to produce 0.5 mole of aluminum tetrahydrosulfate 6? So you can see from the balance equation, first thing you need to do is to get the mole ratio. Aluminum hydroxide, this is 2 here, that's 2:3 to 1:6. So from the equation of reaction, the mole ratio between H2SO4 and Al2SO4, that's tetrahydrosulfuric acid and aluminum tetrahydrosulfate, is 3:1. 3:1. 3:1. That's the mole ratio. So if 1 mole of aluminum tetrahydrosulfate gave 0.5 moles, you can see that it says how many mole of H2SO4 will produce 0.5 mole of aluminum tetrahydrosulfate. So if 1 mole of Al2SO4 gives 0.5 moles of, gives 0.5 moles, yes. 1 mole of this gives 0.5 moles. How many will? So of course it should be 3 times 1, because number of moles of H2SO4 is 3 times that of this one. So multiply whatever this one is by 3. So 0.5 times 3. So therefore 1 mole of this gave this. So 3 mole of H2SO4 will give 3 times 0.5, and that will give you 1.5 moles. So the correct answer is 1.5 moles. So this 3 times the 0.5 of Al2SO4, and that will give you 1.5 moles. Very simple. 23 says, which of the following pairs of substance has the highest heat of neutralization? Is it a strong acid and a strong base, a weak acid and a weak base, a strong acid and a weak base, a weak acid and a strong base? Which one will have the highest heat of neutralization? You know, when an acid is reacted with a base, heat is usually given off. So it's an exothermic reaction. If you mix the two in a test tube and touch the bottom of the test tube, you feel warm. So which of the following will give the highest heat of what? Neutralization. Now, heat of neutralization is the heat evolved, that's the heat given off. When 1 mole of hydrogen ion from an acid reacts with 1 mole of hydroxide ion from a base or alkali to form 1 mole of water. Now, the heat of neutralization is highest between the reaction of strong acids and strong bases. Why? Because the ions in these reactants dissociate completely in water. Now, not only do they dissociate completely in water, they have higher concentration of hydrogen ions and hydroxide ions. So strong acid has a high concentration of hydrogen ions. Strong bases have a high concentration of hydroxyl or hydroxyl ions. So because the concentration is higher in these two, and they dissociate completely in water, they will give a high amount of what, or a high heat of neutralization. But heat of neutralization is lowest between reactions of weak acid and weak bases, since the ions in such acids and bases dissociate poorly in water. Weak acid and weak bases have low concentration of the ions. So weak acid has low concentration of hydrogen ions, and weak bases usually have low concentration of hydroxide ions. So because of that, they will produce much heat of neutralization as compared to strong acid and strong base. So the following pairs of substance that will have the highest heat of neutralization will be what? Strong acid and strong base. So the answer is strong acid and strong base. A is the correct option. 24 says, when quicklime dissolves in water, is heat absorbed, is heat evolved, is oxygen liberated, or is hydrogen given off? Quicklime in water. Let's see. Quicklime reacts vigorously with water to produce slake lime and releasing a large amount of heat. So the reaction is highly exothermic. So if you add water to quicklime, you see that smoke and the oxygen coming out, and that will give us what? Slaked lime. So quicklime reacts with water to form slaked lime. Quicklime is calcium oxide plus water will give you slaked lime calcium hydroxide. You can see that no gas is involved also, but there will be an evolution of a large quantity of heat, and during a chemical reaction, when heat is given off, is an exothermic reaction. When heat is absorbed, is an endothermic reaction. So it is an exothermic reaction, which simply means heat to be what? Given off to the surrounding. Heat to be what? Given off. 25 says, if the value for delta H is positive for a reaction, it means that the reaction is it exothermic, is it endothermic, spontaneous or slow? Now, for delta H to be positive, the reaction must be an endothermic reaction. So as if delta H is positive, it means that heat is absorbed from the surroundings, hence the reaction is exothermic. So take note that if delta H is positive, the reaction is what? Endothermic. If delta H is negative, the reaction is what? Exothermic. So in this case, delta H is positive, heat is absorbed, so the reaction is what? Endothermic. So endothermic is the correct answer. Okay, students, we've come to the end of today's section of Learning with Prepclass, where we look at past questions, Waec 2019 chemistry, and we solved questions 21 to 25. So if you see here, you will see a link. Copy and paste this link on your browser. When you do that, it will take you straight to our WhatsApp group. So when you join our WhatsApp group, you'll be getting updates and infos on the latest video or content we have on YouTube, which will be very, very, very useful to you. So till we meet again, I remain Mr. Chima, a Prepclass tutor on chemistry. Bye, and do stay safe.